Hey everyone, I am Nathaniel Rufflejants from Nintendo Prime, and today I want to talk to you about a topic that popped up in my feed recently. Now, this is a new kind of video series I'm doing where I just kind of talk about whatever interests me that surrounds Nintendo, be it news, be it a controversial topic that comes from someone in the media. And today is one of those media topics, so I obviously understand if this isn't your cup of tea. But let me know down in the comments below if you want me to continue this video series. I also want to apologize ahead of time. I am fighting a little cold right now, so my voice is a little raspy. Might, I don't know, sound like I'm back in puberty again. But let's just hop right into the topic. And this week, or I should say today, I want to talk about something that Anita Sarkeesian stated recently about Breath of the Wild. Now, it should be noted that Anita Sarkeesian is a feminist. She is a well-known, actively practicing feminist that has some popular video game-related stuff going on, such as tropes against women in video games that she had a Kickstarter for way back in 2012. And she was supposed to have like all the episodes done in 2012, 5 of them, and it's still going on, and we're in 2017. So take that for what you will. And she's been accused of other stuff in the past, stealing Let's Play footage, getting something totally wrong about the Hitman series, I believe. Something about how the Hitman series like rewards you for killing women, and the game actually punishes you for it. But that's besides the point. I mean, it provides some background, some context for what we're about to talk about today. So on Twitter, Anita Sarkeesian released 4 tweets from her @FemFreak account that she just calls Feminist Frequency, which is the name of her YouTube channel and all that stuff. So all of these tweets pertain to Breath of the Wild, and I feel like it's important to talk about this, not just because I'm a Nintendo fan, but because Breath of the Wild is not doing what she says it's doing, but she's an extremely popular person out there that might be altering the perception some people have of Breath of the Wild, especially if they have not played the game. So let's get into what she said. So in the very first tweet she put up, she said, "There is so much to admire in Breath of the Wild. Its gameplay is incredible." So she is saying it's a great game, but that absolutely doesn't excuse its use of the tired, sexist plot devices. So she goes on to say in another tweet, "Critics might call out sexism in games with bad gameplay, but often act as if it's not worth mentioning when the gameplay is great. It is." So this is a little strange because I have seen some reviewers out there, not all, call out sexism in games that were still really, really good. So I don't know where she's coming from with this, unless she's like fast forwarding back to the 90s. But there are so many game critics today that will call out that kind of stuff if it warrants it. So the fact that there hasn't been a call out for Breath of the Wild actually might tell you something about your opinions, Miss Anita. Anyway, she goes on to say, "Through the memories players can select, Breath of the Wild acknowledges the ongoing problem of Zelda being a damsel, but does not do anything about it." So this lets me know that Anita has, if she has played the game, because let's just be honest, we have no idea if she's just playing the game or if she's just commenting on the game as an outsider looking in who's watched a few videos. Zelda is not a damsel in distress in this game. Let's just be clear about that. The game has certain moments, certain memories that can portray Zelda as weak, okay? Because she's trying to find her way in the world. She's trying to rediscover this hidden power that's granted from the goddess Hylia to allow herself to defeat Ganon. Not Link, not the 4 champions. Zelda herself is supposed to be the key to defeating Ganon, or in this case, Calamity Ganon. So Zelda does start out as a character who is not all too sure of what she's doing. And Link's role 100 years ago, and this is me getting into massive spoiler territory, so for anyone who doesn't know or want to know anything about the Breath of the Wild story, I would just stop listening now. But I believe that I need to talk about this because context is very important, because Anita is accusing the game of using a tired trope against women, as in the damsel in distress trope, which is something the Zelda series has done before, mostly in some of the very early games in the series, such as the original The Legend of Zelda. So, moving into the meat of this here. Link 100 years ago was assigned to be a knight that protects Zelda. His job was to protect Zelda. And because of that job, this is where Anita might be finding some of her justifications for her viewpoints. Where, because Link has to protect Zelda, Zelda is a damsel that needs that protection. And that's a weird way of looking at it, because Zelda's royalty, right? And the king can't be at her side at all times when Zelda's on this quest to discover these hidden powers that she's unable to manifest at the moment. And Link also happens to have feelings for Zelda, and Zelda has feelings for Link. There's like this cool relationship play going on. And Link has a massive burden on his shoulders that goes way beyond Zelda. There's so many people relying on Link. It's crazy. Zelda is just his charge from the king. So it's very normal for royalty to have guards, to have protectors. As in, is it sexist that our president of the United States has the Secret Service protecting him? I don't know why that's sexist at all. But again, I could see how someone who is an extreme feminist, like on the extreme end of it, could see this as a male is protecting a female, and that's just the way the game goes. However, the thing is that while the king does ask Link very early on in the game, after he's woken up, can you go, please save my daughter? He's not really saving Zelda in the traditional sense, where Zelda is in a moment of distress, cannot help herself kind of situation. So what Zelda did 100 years ago was Link tried to defeat Calamity Ganon along with Zelda and the four champions. The four champions were defeated on their own individually, and then Link was struck down to a point that he was almost dead. Zelda at that time made the decision that Link shouldn't die. So she had him. She basically got people in Hyrule to help take Link to a resurrection chamber, which would take however long to revive him and make Link, 100% healthy again. In this case, it took 100 years. Zelda knew that there's no way the heck they could wait for Link to, get well again to face off against Calamity Ganon. There just wasn't time. Calamity Ganon was about to destroy all of Hyrule. So, Zelda, in her unselfishness, went up against Calamity Ganon on her own, all by herself, and stopped him. Or stopped him for a time. What she ended up doing is being able to trap Calamity Ganon at Hyrule Castle using her powers. She was able to manifest the very powers that she had been searching for the whole time before this whole event started happening. So she stopped Calamity Ganon all on her own. Does that sound like someone who's in distress, by the way? That sounds like a very strong female character who is playing a pivotal role in the story of this game, and not a role that's like, oh, Link, I need you to save me. So what she did is she trapped Calamity Ganon. So you fast forward 100 years. And what's happening is that Zelda, even with the power that she has, cannot defeat Ganon on her own. She could seal him, but she can't hold that seal forever. I mean, she's been holding it for 100 years, which is crazy that one person is stopping Calamity Ganon from destroying all of Hyrule. All those people you meet, all the villagers, all the guys walking around, the travelers, they would be dead if Zelda wasn't doing what she was doing. So in this game, what's happening after Link recovers his memories, or even if he doesn't, you can go straight to the end boss right away after you defeat the first 4 shrines. Link is trying to get to Zelda, 1, to understand what happened in the past, 2, because he knows, because he's been told, essentially, that he is one of the key ingredients to defeating Calamity Ganon for good. So the idea in this game is to get rid of Ganon for good. So when Link gets to the end and he's fighting Calamity Ganon, and yes, he is fighting Calamity Ganon all on his own for a majority of the fight, when it gets to the end, because Zelda is unable to hold the seal on him any longer, and Ganon comes back, essentially, as his original form, Ganon. Zelda is the one who does the final blow. She is the one who swoops in and does the final thing needed to seal him. So basically, Link weakened Ganon, and then Zelda used, I don't know if it was the last of her power or whatever she had left after holding him for 100 years to seal him away. So Link didn't defeat Calamity Ganon on his own. Zelda didn't defeat Calamity Ganon on her own. The combined power of Link and Zelda did it. And if you did all the various side stuff or all the main story quests, Not only did Link and Zelda defeat Calamity Ganon, so did Mipha, so did Daruk, so did the protectors of the Divine Beast. They also helped. So it was actually a collaborative effort, believe it or not, by 3 females and 3 males, with 2 of them directly fighting Calamity Ganon. Crazy, right? So Zelda's obviously helped defeat Ganon in the past, and she has been a damsel in distress in some of these games where she has helped defeat Ganon at the end. However, that's not the case here. At no point is Zelda actually trapped by Ganon. Okay? Like, there is a cutscene that looks like she's eaten by Ganon, but that's not what happened. She sacrificed herself. She knew that she could not leave Hyrule Castle. So she sacrificed who she was, everything about her, to stop Calamity Ganon. Damsel in distress trope thrown out the window, as Zelda just performed one of the strongest female acts in all of Zelda. And it's an act that's arguably bigger than anything Link has done, and anything Link will do. So this whole idea that reviewers are ignoring an obvious sexism trope in Breath of the Wild is just baffling to me, because it doesn't exist. She is missing out on the context of the game. She has either not played enough of it or doesn't care to play the game enough to discover how strong of a character Zelda is, because guess what? All of us don't start out as these super amazing strong leads. That's not what happens. Zelda, as a princess, was not this very strong female role model, like trying to being able to do everything at the very beginning. It takes time. You have to learn. She learned. She grew up. She was more powerful than Link. It's crazy to me. So she ends by saying in her final tweet, Anita does, that the slew of perfect scores Breath of the Wild received by critics shows that they still don't give a damn. I just don't, I don't get it. I really do not understand where Anita is going with this. It is completely false, completely missing all context. It frustrates me to the point that I felt like I needed to make a video about it, because, well, I'm obviously a Nintendo fan and have obvious bias toward liking Nintendo games, especially Zelda ones. Let's be honest, Zelda has faults. Breath of the Wild isn't perfect, and it's not just the frame rates. There are other issues with Breath of the Wild that I can understand that some might not like, even if I do, such as the breakable, weapon system. I know some people love it, some people hate it, but there's other literal issues with Breath of the Wild that maybe for some prevent it from being a perfect 10. This isn't one of them. There is no sexism in this game in regards to Princess Zelda. It's just not there. You could try to make an argument that there is sexism in the game if you want, but good luck, because there are jokes that are equal to men and women that deal with sexism-related stuff to the point that it equals out. So this is probably one of the least sexist games Nintendo's ever made. Just because you can't choose a female lead at the beginning doesn't mean anything. This is The Legend of Zelda. Link is the hero. Anita, please. Try. You figure after all these years you would learn. Gain some context before commenting on something like this. And I know you're just piggybacking on a very popular game right now. But man, at least piggyback in a way that shows you know what you're talking about. And so many people are going to look at her tweets, listen to what she has to say, without gaining that context. And that's misleading your viewership. And man, I don't know if she's intentionally misleading, but it sure feels like it. This is Nathaniel Rufflejants from Nintendo Prime, signing out.